We are on the lunch break on the questioning of Stephen Dells, a former detective sergeant in the Special Demonstration Squad between 2001 and 2008 when the unit was shut down. He's had further questions. I'm not alone. I am joined off screen by Alison.
Hello.
From Police Spies Out of Lives. In the last little bit, we've heard from Stephen Beels. He's talked about his reporting on the Stephen Lawrence Justice Campaign, about him being a handler for Simon Wellings, about him being a handler for Robert Hastings, including Robert Hastings' arrest that led to the shutting down of the unit. We've heard about him and the tradecraft manual and his knowledge or lack of it of sexual relationships. And we've just started getting onto him being a handler for Carlo Soracchi. Not Sorachi, as I might have said earlier. Soracchi. It's always Soracchi. What have you made of what he's had to say?
Well, I came in late this morning, so I missed some of it. But he looks like sort of, I've now said this before about some of them, but he looks like deputy head teacher who was a PE teacher, or maybe head of geography at some point. He's quite dull to listen to. And they're just shockingly bad. They're either incompetent or they're malign or a bit of both. I know we've said that before, but how can you say, read the tradecraft manual? Haven't really read it myself.
So his explanation was that he was lazy. That's what he came up with in the end, was laziness. He did a ridiculous thing, which a few of them have done.
The role play. The role play. Sean, so short. It's so David Brent. He goes, so Sean, what are you doing? Are you having an affair? No, of course I'm not. Of course I'm not having an affair. What's his name? Stephen. But Sean, there's something going on, isn't there? Ian, no, whatever his name is. Stephen, no, there is and then
the wife, he did the wife as well. He did a funny voice for the wife. I mean, that was cut from the broadcast. There was a breach. We can't talk about certain things, but that's not a breach. It was before the breach, but it was cut from the broadcast.
That's what he did yesterday. I keep getting them confused because they've both got double letters in their names. They've both got four letter surnames, but they've got double letter. This is Beale and Dell.
Yeah.
And he kept doing it yesterday. Yeah. Carlo, no. It's Harry Enfield, isn't it? No. What is it?
I'd say, oi, Carlo.
Oi,
no.
Carlo, no. And did you say to Carlo, you're a big boy now? No, I didn't say that. That's not my language. I wouldn't have said that. So somebody said a long time ago to me about what happens when the managers come on, and it is what we're seeing, that they are, they just all hate each other, don't they? That the managers hate the officers for showing them up and getting all this stuff out in the open, and the officers hate the managers for not telling them not to sleep with women, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he was very rude about McKinley and Flood, the last of the senior management of the SDS who shut down the unit. He was really, he referred to them. There was a whole long list of pejoratives about them that he put in his written statement. He said he was quite embarrassed to have those read back to him.
He couldn't remember some of his stuff. That's the other bit of it. It's like if you know you're going to be in front of the inquiry, you know you wrote the statement however long ago, surely you have a little bit of a look through it before you come in front of the inquiry to remind yourself what you said. The other bit of it that I keep coming back to, and I thought it yesterday and I think it again today, if you haven't followed any of this inquiry, and if you don't know anything about anything, but you just, like we've got some students again behind us, and you're watching it, you would be forgiven for thinking, oh, okay, so there was that HN18, that Harrison bloke, but obviously they're closing the unit now. So that's obviously the end of it. What's the inquiry going to talk about for the next stage? Yeah. You would be forgiven for thinking, obviously, that this lot were incompetents, but Dell said it's really not allowed, and so it didn't happen anymore. Obviously, it didn't happen anymore. And it's like you're watching it, you go, no, oh no, we've got Marco Jacobs, we've got Mark Kennedy, we've got God knows who else who's just got anonymity covered up. So that is what is unbelievable. Listening to it, you really would think it's like, oh, it's all done now, but it isn't.
No, it's very, very, very far from done. There will be quite a gap before we finally get on to tranche 4. And
but just in the history of the abuse and the history of the wrongdoing.
Yes.
You it's like, okay, they closed this unit because obviously it was rotten to the core, and they created another one which is going to be rotten to the core as well.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that they didn't shut down the unit for being rotten to the core.
No,
they shut down the unit because Robert Hastings got himself arrested at Dicey, and this was an excuse to finally shut it down because it appeared like the management didn't like them. That's what we've heard from Beels. It was a personal beef, essentially. Is what he's suggesting.
So, which is another whole layer to what happened. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's not.
Him talking about because he was only the duty cover officer for Robert Hastings. He wasn't his main handler.
Yeah.
And the way that he talks about that, I mean, literally with that arrest, he was like, so what did you do when he was arrested? Well, I passed it on to Gilbertson as fast as I could, quick hospital passes, when he said he was lazy, I think he was being quite honest really for a moment, just for a brief second there of his approach to doing the job seemed to be, getting out of things as much as possible.
Yeah, I honestly don't understand what any of them were doing any of the time. I really don't get it. And also the other bit earlier on when you were talking about the that they didn't ever ask where any of them were, or they sort of knew that they were, or they didn't really ask where they were. They didn't know where they were. Doesn't sit with what risky, dangerous people all these activists are, and why they all need the anonymity. If they didn't know where they were, that's because they sort of knew that they were with quite nice people, well, not nice even, but quite harmless people.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, when they all put in their anonymity requests, suddenly all these people who they were betraying are really, really dangerous, are going to come after them. You can't have it both ways. You can't think that they're really actually pretty harmless people and think that they're going to turn into, vicious, stalking murderers if they know who you are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We did have a bit more on the Stephen Lawrence since the last video we did, so we should kind of address that. It was a very detailed report that he'd written. This was back from when he was on C Squad before he joined the SDS, and he was asked where the information came from, and he said, well, some of it was SDS. He didn't know it had come from HN81 Dave Hagan, but I think from seeing Dave Hagan's reports, we can see particularly the stuff about the Lawrence family, the personal private information about their relationship, that's come from there. But he said it also would have come from uniform police, from the local press, from prosecutions, and from informers. That it wasn't just that they had undercover officers in the Stephen Lawrence family justice campaign, it's that they were, from all angles, they were looking to get evidence on the intelligence on them. And he's adamant that they needed that information for the whole picture. He kept saying need.
Yes. Well, whenever they say the whole picture, that just reminds me of Mark Jenner, I'm afraid.
Right.
Because he said when he joined Red Action, I said, what have you joined Red Action for? And he needs, because he'd been in AFA. And he said, because I need to see the whole picture. So they're always talking. That's part of their thing, isn't it? We need to see the whole picture.
There's a lot of language. I mean, aside from the very noticeable slang like wearies and so forth, there is a certain way of talking that we see across the board. There's a culture, isn't there, within that unit?
Completely. They say not.
Yeah. Repeatedly.
I mean, the other thing that I thought when I first arrived, they were talking about the McPherson report and how officers responded to that.
Horrified.
At first, well, he said everyone took it very personally at first.
They did,
but because they didn't understand that what was being talked about was structural racism. And then we explained it. Then we had it explained. And then they were fine with it. Then they were absolutely fine. Then they didn't have a problem with it at all, which is not quite what Jenner said when he gave his evidence, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And it's not what we saw coming out at the time. I mean, at the time, it was reported on. We saw lots of police officers being very upset and very angry, and they didn't seem to understand.
Well, I mean, it was raised in the hearing, about John Grieve, who was the Deputy Assistant Commissioner to the Met at the time, who accepted the finding of institutional racism, who said he got death threats and was called a traitor by his colleagues.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that says a lot about what,
Yeah. I mean, I am struggling slightly to stay fully awake, if I'm honest.
I mean, he has got a very dull voice.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say about him being like a geography teacher or something.
Yeah.
There is a drone to his voice.
Yeah.
He's not expressing much emotion. I mean, whatever you want to say against Dell for the last few days, he did express emotion.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of emotion being shown, really.
No. I mean, I just come back to the fact that we have to remember that it's unbelievable that all this is being out, that we're here at all, that any of it, because I think one of them said, did Dale say the other day, or, this was all secret.
Yeah.
And the other bit I thought in an exam, you've given the wrong answer about what you would have done with the tradecraft manual had you read it properly. His answer was, I would have shredded it.
Yes. Yeah.
No. That's not the answer. The answer is that I would have kept it as a document, and then I would have annotated it to show what was wrong with it, and then I would have produced a new code of practice. But I would use that to say this is how it used to be, and this is wrong. You wouldn't shred it to make it all go away.
Well, I mean, what was amazing?
He said bizarre answer.
It was. He said it twice,
yeah,
and then he said the second time he said it, I would have shredded it. I'd have shredded it long before I ever got a chance to read it at the inquiry. Just like, yeah, you'd have shredded. You know what I mean? Like, the problem was it was released. That's the problem, Steve.
Yeah. But it's a bit like yeah. I mean, people might have different views on that. He might, like, I think, like with the statues, when the statues came down, the Coulson statue, some people I felt they shouldn't come down. They should be preserved with a whole layer. Well,
you're completely wrong about that.
No, I know, but do you know what I mean?
It's currently in a museum on its side.
That's okay. Graffiti. No, I'm okay with that. That's what I mean. Okay, in a museum. Well, then the tradecraft manual needs to be in a museum. Do you know what I mean? I think
it's an exhibit.
The evidence.
It's an exhibit.
Yeah. I don't think you want to shred things. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it in a museum on its side.
Good.
But but yeah, you don't shred it. That is not the answer.
We came to his knowledge of sexual relationships. He claimed it was very interesting. His answer. He said he can't remember now if the things that he learned to the sexual relationships during the inquiry, or whilst he was a part of the SDS. He says it's hard to tell. He doesn't think he does, but it may have been. Which, I looked at. I was staring at the transcript as he was saying that. It may have been like. That's the wrong use of the English language there. Either way, whatever you're trying to say, but he didn't want to be pinned down to a definitive article. He claimed that he definitely didn't know that Carlo Soracchi was having sexual relationships, which is interesting because he was the cover officer. He went to the trip to Florence. He went to the trip to Venice while he was in Verona. He's going to have a lot more questions on that.
Yeah.
That was just what we were coming to before there was the break.
Who do you believe out of that? Because there's a lateral thinking task about with liars. Like do you know that task? Do you know the exercise?
Go on.
I can never quite remember it, but I think there's a gate to heaven and a gate to hell, and you want to get through the gate to heaven, and there are two identical twins standing outside each gate, and one always tells the truth and one always lies. You have one question. What is your question?
If I asked him...
Oh, you do know it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, if I asked him if this was the gate to heaven, what would he say?
No, they can only answer yes or no.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, if I asked him... it's basically that, though.
And then you reverse it.
You reverse it,
yes. Yeah, if I asked him, is this the gate to heaven?
Yeah.
Would he... What? Yeah. If I say, is this the gate to heaven, what would he say? And if he says no... then you go through that gate.
Yes. Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Anyway, but who do you believe? Do you believe Carlo Soracchi?
No.
Or do you believe Dell?
I don't believe either of them. I'm going to be fair. Yeah. This is the problem: is that there isn't someone who always tells the truth in this thing.
No, there isn't.
So that's the problem.
That is exactly the problem.
I think they all bloody knew everything. Quite frankly,
I do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I do as well. I think they all know everything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he ties himself in knots about the authorizations, about the trips, about all the steps along the way, about what actually he thought Carlo was doing in Italy. We've got this thing about meeting up with these. He's supposedly this intelligence officer with 31 years in special branch who has been on the C Squad desk looking at the extreme left wing. He should have an idea. Okay, it's Socialist Party. Their links with the CWI in the Committee for Workers International in Italy, meeting up with people. He should have some sort of understanding of that. I bet he doesn't. I bet he flaps like hell when we get to that section.
There's a lot of desks, aren't there?
There's a lot of desks.
Palestine desk, Israel desk.
Yeah.
What's the brown desk? What was the brown desk that they said isn't the brown desk?
Yeah, that was. There was lots of international desks part of E Squad. There were lots of different desks as part of C Squad, which was UK based.
They weren't hot desking, were they?
They definitely weren't hot desking. No shortage of furniture in Special Branch.
I need my lunch.
Yes, we should have our lunch. Thanks for joining us, and we'll do another video during the afternoon break. There's plenty more to come from Stephen Beels. We're expecting it to be finished by 4. There'll be a closed session after that, which will be with Helen Steele. There's 54 people watching. Only one person has liked it, but they've loved it, which is marvelous. But please, it'd be really good.
Well, they might not like it.
But they loved it. So if you don't like it or not, they might like what we're saying. We don't like what we're saying. It's awful. But it would be really help.
Thank you, Tom.
If they would do. Yeah, thank you, Alison. See you all in a bit. Bye for now.